A very good morning and many thanks for keeping it NTV Uganda. My name is Romy Busiku and I'm here to bring you this episode of The Rising Woman. Yes, well, and we are going to be doing this under the theme Strategic Planning and Thinking. Strategic planning, strategic thinking under the theme, yes, making the right and winning business choices, refocus, yes, reimagine and reboot your business. Our three guest speakers with whom we are going to be having this conversation, Susan Cigura, she comes with a wealth of information. And we also have Patricia Karugaba, the MD, Nina Interiors, yes, with whom we are also going to be having this banter. And lastly, we do have Helen Buenger. She's also here in studio. She's going to be giving you a few tips on how best you can strategically think, yes, and plan for your business, making the right and winning choices, reimagine, refocus, and reboot your business. A very good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm going to start with you, Susan. You know, you've been doing a lot in these, in so many organizations, especially in the fast-moving commodity goods business. So we would like to know, from experience, what impact do the decisions we make have on the business that we start?
Thank you, and it's such a great pleasure to be here.
Indeed.
And to my fellow panelists, it's such a great pleasure to be here.
Indeed.
And I think when we're talking decisions in business, you can't help but quote Peter Drucker, who is a management guru. And one of the things he says is like, when you see a successful business, it means that somebody somewhere took a courageous decision.
Indeed.
When you see a successful business like Nina Interiors, it means that someone somewhere took a courageous decision. Because decisions spark action, and decisions make the way for you to make some form of progress or non-progress, depending on which side of the fence you are. So you can't underestimate the impact of decisions. It's absolutely everything. And when it comes to business, whether in life or in business, every decision has a consequence. Even the decision not to make a decision also has a consequence.
Indeed.
And I thought that having recently started my own business, that decisions are everywhere, from the how, the what, the who, the where, the when of business. What business am I in? Which area am I going to compete in? Who am I going to employ? How are we going to run our business? The structure, the organization. And I found that we can also approach the impact of decisions on the 5 pillars of business, which are leadership, and management,
Yes.
strategy, decisions on strategy, decisions on leadership, decisions on structure, decisions on systems, and decisions on people. So everything rises and falls on our ability and also on the quality of the decisions that we make. I've been in businesses, for example, where decisions on people, for example, it's very, do you have the right people in the room? How do you get the right people in the room?
Indeed.
How do you get the wrong people out of your room?
Indeed.
And you know, decisions like that, if you don't make them in time, if you don't make quality decisions, they actually impact your business. So I think the long and short of it all is that from the start of the business to the day-to-day running of the business, everything really centers around the quality of decisions and the courage to make the right decisions for your business.
Now, Susan, how best can we ensure that we make the best and winning decisions? Are there any do's and don'ts in this case?
Absolutely, because, and sometimes good decision making comes with time. I'm sure Patricia can attest to that. When you've been in business for a while,
Indeed.
from your experience, you learn that that's a good decision and that's a bad decision. So in the beginning, I would say that you've got to learn from it. It's an experience. You've got to learn, because you will learn that the last time I made that decision, it wasn't a good one. So this time
I need to fine tune.
Exactly. I know better.
Right.
So what I can say is that from my own learning, that good decision making starts with starting with the end in mind. What is the outcome that you want? And when you start with that outcome, it allows you to look at do you have enough information to make a sound decision? Very often we see decisions made on the go very quickly, and then somebody comes up with additional information like, I wish I had known that before making the decision. So it's good to know whether you've got enough information about whatever it is you're making a decision on to make a good quality decision. I'll also say that it's important in decision making to take the decision. There's nothing like sitting on the fence. There's nothing like sitting on the fence. Those of us who've worked in big organizations where you keep going to the desk of somebody to sign off something, and it's just sitting there, and it's just sitting there. So there's nothing like not once you've weighed the information, once you've sounded enough people on the decision, it's important, take a decision. Even if it's the wrong decision, take it, make the mistake, learn from it, but it is very important to make decisions. Non-decisions actually hold back companies. The non-decisions on people, non-decisions on financing, non-decisions even on the market, those kind of things actually slow, they slow people down.
Decision making is synonymous with risk taking so much.
It is a risk, yes, it is a risk. But somebody's got to take it.
Indeed.
Like I started, a courageous decision, is always behind successful businesses. So
well, speaking of successful businesses, we do have the managing director of Nina Interiors, that is Patricia Karugaba. Well, she's going to be sharing with us some of the wealth of information she inculcated in that business to ensure that it stays strong. And it does stand the test of time, because we do know there are so many uncertainties that come with being or operating in an economy such as ours right here in Uganda. Yes, very good morning once again, Patricia. Would like to know what has kept Nina Interiors very strong in this Ugandan market. We all know our economy is very unstable. One moment you have this, another moment you have COVID-19, and then people at home, business is not booming. What has kept Nina Interiors strong?
Thank you very much. Good morning, and a good morning to our viewers. That's an interesting question that you ask, and it's a question that anybody in business should ask themselves. I would like to say that what has kept us going is we remember why we started. We're serving a customer. We earn by serving a customer. So all our focus is on the customer. If you start with the customer, you can't get it wrong. All your decisions, Susan has gone on and on about making decisions. Our decisions are guided by response to what the customer needs, or the anticipation of what the customer is going to demand. The smallest decisions still will impact the customer. As a business person, you might be looking at the bottom line, what's my profit going to be like and all that. But if you first understand how that decision is going to affect the customer, it is the one that will topple down to your bottom line.
Literally, guesswork is very dangerous in any business.
Absolutely. So, for example, it could be a decision which you think is not business related. Maybe you're thinking that should I change or should I do insurance for health insurance for staff? Then you'll think about, what's the impact on my bottom line? What's the impact on the profit? But what you're forgetting is that if staff are confident and comfortable, they are going to respond better to the customer, and therefore the customer is going to patronize you, and it's a continuous thing. So it is to always focus on the customer, and it's my advice to anyone in business, is you're in business for the customer. It's a cliche, because it's been said over and over. But really, we are in existence because of the customer. If there's no customer, you've got no business. Indeed. Unfortunately, it's been said too many times that you don't take it seriously, but ultimately, it is the fact.
So what can the women learn from you in terms of strategic partnerships and straightforward planning?
Let me talk about strategic partnerships. When you mention strategic partnerships, someone is going to think of these big things: equity sharing deals, joint ventures, profit sharing. I'm talking to women in business. There might be some who are high up there whose businesses are ready for an equity sharing. There might be someone who already has a joint venture working. That's fine. But in a strategic partnership, what you should be aiming at is, what is it you want for your business? Are you trying to grow your customer base? Are you trying to increase your capacity of what you can do, increase your productivity? Do you need more income? Maybe you don't have enough money in the business. So you would be looking for a partnership in that direction. But if you're not ready for the equity deals, then tune it down. Something as simple as just a supplier agreement. You make an agreement with a supplier that you will be there only, they will sell only to you in that region, or they'll give you a territory so that you know that you have some distinction, some differentiation against your competition. Maybe they'll give you extra credit. That is a partnership with a supplier that is going to boost your business. So I don't want the smaller people in business, the smaller women in business to now be worried that, oh, those are for big companies and what. No, it's something as small and as simple as that.
Patricia Karugaba is the Managing Director, Nina Interiors. We do also have Helen Buenger. Yeah, she's also in our midst. She has a background as a communications specialist, so I'm going to task you on that. You know, for some of the SMEs, the small, medium-sized enterprises, when you talk about issues to do with strategic thinking and planning, sometimes they think this role is only for the business proprietors. And for them, the employees, they take a back seat. And you and I know very well that as a communications specialist, having that background, that strategic planning and thinking, it has to be a collective role on all stakeholders, both internal and external. But then would like to know how much time and resources should a company devote to planning for the company?
Oh, that is a wonderful question, and I'm happy to be here. Let me start out by saying that time is the only thing that goes into good work.
I see.
Many a times there's a lot of passion that goes into starting a business, and I love what women do in an economy. I mean, they really hold it up. But very many businesses don't survive the first year. And most of the time it's because you never invested more time into the strategic thinking of it. How did you forecast your first year, your second year, your third year? And what kind of resources are you going to use? I find that the resource that you use will give you a lot of feedback at that point in time. For example, if I have, let me say, I bring in jeans from China, you might be pleasantly surprised that although you're targeting women, your staff might tell you, you know what, the people buying the most in bulk are the gentlemen who are selling to ladies. Now, if you don't have that feedback from your staff and incorporate it within your strategic plan, you find that you would have lost a lot of information that can help you have an edge or increase your flow of business and maybe change the way you do it. So I find that a lot of time spent thinking about it. I think women, we spend a lot of time thinking about very many things, and the beautiful thing is that we're always busy in our heads. It's either home or it's sorting out the kids, but that time thinking about the business is something that we do naturally. So have more people come to that table. Have your staff come to that table. Let them give you more insight and research that they've done. Yeah, and you find that the more you make them buy in, the more you incorporate your culture and what you want to build with them, and you find that you have a bigger dream and you realize it better going forward.
We would also like to know how best can the top management of a company disseminate information that can be rightly absorbed by the junior employees at the bottom, because this is the top to bottom activity.
Management. I love the word management because, to be honest, that is where all the issues get sorted, and management really brings about performance in the staff. Now, sharing that dream, I believe that some dreams are a little bit too big to be shared downwards. For example, if you have a 5-year plan, sometimes it might be impossible to say, okay, we want to build a plane, but we're a car company, if it's too big. So starting out with a champion that can bring all that down into your staff and having plans that are progressive in nature, so that you have the building blocks together for maybe a 5-year plan, and you get these building blocks and have champions within your staff to kind of carry that on. I find that sometimes the dream is lost in that plan if management again loses the champion within the staff to help you bring the dream build the dream from the bottom up. I keep saying that computers don't do the work, the staff do the work. If a customer walks in, the computer will never make me feel happy about myself. I like to walk into a place and somebody says hello to me. Indeed. That makes a big difference in my world. And it also controls the way I purchase. So that said, that dream has to be brought down to a level that the manager helps the bottom staff understand from, I like calling them the support staff. I keep telling people who I work with, if that lady who doesn't come into the office and make me that cup of tea doesn't come in, I may not be able to be at my top best. So that culture to be infiltrated all the way down into the staff, from the support all the way to the middle level management, to the top management, that culture, I find, if you give it to them in bite sizes, you will be able to realize the dream. And I enjoy businesses that have a forecast. For me, you must have a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan. That plan in its right can form the business.
All right, let me also bring in Susan Cigura. Help us dissect some of the immediate ramifications of a situation where you have a company plan, but you failed to disseminate that information to the rest of the team in a manner that they could absorb. So what would be the immediate ramification that could culminate out of that situation?
I think because at the end of the day, it's the people who are going to achieve the plan. So if they don't know what the plan is, they're just going to go about their everyday duty. And you're going to sit around the boardroom table and wonder what happened. So it's important to break that plan down and have different unit heads or department heads actually break down that plan to the people. And it really matters that down to the last person, they actually understand where the company is going and what the company is about. Because if you don't do that, then people just come in to tick boxes. They just come in to tick boxes. And that also, bears down to like the mission statement of a company. Many times those mission statements remain on the wall and they don't actually mean anything to the last person. They actually don't mean anything. It's just something that we do. We tick the box, especially in large organizations. But I liked what Patricia said when she said, we remind ourselves of why we are here. Why are we here? And it's very important that old employees, new employees, they actually understand why the company exists. Because then when they do that, they're not just ticking the box. So I feel if that plan is not broken down properly for everybody to understand in one way or another how their role contributes to the plan, then it's just people coming in, ticking the box, clocking in, clocking out, and you're going to actually not achieve what it is that you set out to do.
Because ideally the employees are the first line of advertising.
They're
I've interacted with some people from some company X, and they would come and tell you, okay, we are selling this product, so you want to get more information. But then this person will tell you, let me first call the manager.
Exactly.
Like, you don't have the information offhand.
So
precisely. Those are some of the issues that could come about if employees are not well acquainted with the business plan.
Many times we do a lot of external communications. We do grand launches of 5-year strategic plan, 40-year strategic plan, or whatever it is. But then the internal bit, where now you break this down internally for the people to actually understand it and what it means and how they are going to contribute to it, that when that falls apart, it just remains a document.
All right, Patricia Karugaba, let's talk about strategic partnerships. And why do most women in business fail when it comes to, making those strategic partnerships? We would like to know.
Like I mentioned before, the partnerships that you're making, it is to strengthen your business.
Right.
So what would go wrong? One, you chose the wrong partner. It was a wrong fit. Maybe the partner you've picked hasn't come in with the strength that your business needs. Your business might be needing just an injection of capital, but this partner's strength is giving you visibility or giving you publicity. But if you don't have the capital to get you running, you will end up probably even getting bad press. Then the other reason why the partnerships don't work is it's a weakness that we have as women, is that we think and do everything with the heart. We start out emotionally. We don't look at the numbers. So you make a decision and a partnership based on, oh, I like so-and-so, or I want to be with so-and-so.
I see.
Instead of looking at the numbers that, is this thing going to work? The other reason probably why it wouldn't work is having unrealistic expectations. I partnered with this lady, she said we were going to make money like this, and then it hasn't worked out, and then you get infighting. And then because you've not planned it out very well, you have no exit strategy, you have two businesses that have joined or are in partnership and they're fighting with each other. Once there's infighting, there can be nothing positive going out. You can't, the business will struggle because on the inside there's a fight going on. So I think that those are some of the reasons.
Could it be that when we are looking for attributes in other people, we actually look for those attributes that look like ours? Like if this person A is like me, when it comes to doing this, I'll employ them. Could that be a mistake? Is it okay to have a diverse team in your company?
Well, of course you must have a diverse team because you're not perfect if you're just going to look for people who are like you. First of all, what is it that you want from the partnership? The partnership has to answer those things. I mentioned growing your customer base. I mentioned injecting capital. I mentioned increasing productivity. That partner must be bringing something on board for it to work.
Matters not whether or not you like them.
This is business. But having said that, I have to say that there's something called chemistry. If the chemistry is not there, it's not going to work. Also, two businesses coming together, there's something about culture. You might have a business that does its kind of activities under the table, and then it's going to partner with a bigger business that does its works above board. Everything is recorded, everything is receipted, so the two will not blend. One will bring the other down.
And Helen Buenger, in your opinion, why do most women make these mistakes when it comes to choosing the strategic partner to do business with?
Like Patricia says, you've got to find the best fit for you. I like to look at two things in particular when I'm dealing with a business. One, look at the numbers. Secondly, get the emotions out of the numbers.
I see.
Yeah, because it's very important. You are in business to make money. Thirdly, look at what is actually going right in the business. Sometimes all you have to do is focus on a few things that will make you super profitable. Yeah, and then look at what is not going right. It's important to cut those cords early, especially in partnerships that don't work. For example, she cited an example where one works with systems and well-formulated IT software and all, and here I am with my little assistant, and we kind of have a discussion, and voila, things somehow work out. Yeah. Now, if I am going to move from that, I would say informal, to a kind of a more formalized setting, there is a process for me to grow into that. If you speed it up, you're probably going to choke each other and you'll find that you won't fit right. So it is important to have a gradual grow into the totally informal to the formal sector. I like to talk, I like to think about somebody who first said, I'm going to sell the world drinking water. Can you imagine what his grandmother would have said? So why are you selling people something free? But that was a dream that started, and this person went ahead to formalize it, get the right equipment, and voila, everywhere in the world people are drinking bottled water. So another industry I like to look at is the pasta industry, wherever it came from. I don't know whether it's Italy or, but all of these were cottage industries. Somebody somewhere was making pasta for their home.
Indeed.
And they ended up thinking, oh, my neighbor would like some pasta. So they upscaled.
Same thing with the Rolex.
Yes. So they upscaled. And then they upscaled to, okay, let's have a longer shelf life. And all those come with partnerships, because I don't believe we have the skills. I like working with people because if I don't have the skills, somebody does. Look for that particular person who can assist you in growing into what you want to be, but also be extremely realistic in your growth path. Some growth paths are too steep that you might end up breaking yourself and then starting again. I'd like to believe that if you fail, start again. Indeed. And build it back up. Or some paths come when you're very ready to achieve it, like you're extremely at a good phase in your business to formalize, to get the formula registered. I look at the industry right now in Uganda where these ladies are making fantastic hair care products. Oh my goodness, the ingredients they think of mixing. I'm thinking, should I eat this or should I put it in my hair or my skin? Yeah. But these ladies are also, they just, you know, some of them I call them chefs because they kind of mix it up and then voila, they have a fantastic product. But formalizing that to a section where you write down the formula, work with a scientist to get that formula right, work with a person who does preservation, work with a branding company to give you a proper brand. Then as you grow, you find that you're at capacity enough to say, okay, do I want to export? I've been targeting 200,000 people. How can I target 500,000 to 1 million? Is Uganda enough? Can I do Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda, and Sudan? Can I move that far? But all those stages require that you actually partner with somebody who's great.
Helen Buenger, Patricia Karugaba, and Cigura Susan are the three panelists with whom I'm having this conversation on how best you can take your business ahead on this episode of Rising Woman. The main focus is strategic planning and thinking under the theme making the right and winning business choices, reimagine, refocus, and reboot your business. We'll be right back with more of those recommendations to help your business taking your business ahead. And our main focus is strategic planning and thinking under the theme, yes, we shall be giving you the right and winning choices for your business. We want you to refocus, to reimagine and reboot your business so that it can take off and thrive under these COVID-19 circumstances that are not going away. So this is the new normal. And we also understand that in many cases, employee motivation can make or break a company based on how the top management creates that environment that is suitable for the whole team to thrive in that process. So that is my next conversation that I'm going to have with Susan Cigura, Patricia Karugaba, and Helen Buenger. Let me start with you, Susan. Yes, at what extent can organization culture influence strategic thinking for any company?
Well, you know, the first thing that comes to mind that we use all the time is culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Indeed.
You can have the best plan, you got in the best thinkers, you paid millions for your plan. You could even be a small business and you've sat and you've thought and you've invested in the plan. But all that becomes nothing based on the culture of the business, based on the culture of the people who work for you and the culture in the business. And we've seen it happen time and time again where millions of dollars are invested, especially in large organizations, and sooner or later it just becomes a white elephant. But the key question that you should ask that always fascinates me is, who drives the culture? Indeed. It's the leadership. The leadership shapes the behavior.
And sometimes you look at the money they've invested and you can't actually understand why there's resignation from the workers. You're like, why?
But the culture, where does the culture comes from the top. What kind of culture do you have in the company?
Indeed.
Is it bureaucratic? Is it autocratic? Is it where the employees are not empowered to make any decisions and everything must rest on the boss, like the example that you gave earlier?
Indeed.
Is it a laissez-faire, you know? Boss comes in, puts his coat and disappears and does his own thing for the rest of the day, and then you expect people to sit there and do their work? Absolutely no way. So I've seen enough to know that once the leadership drives the right culture, it has to start at the top. And that is when you're actually going to see that you can get the employees to start owning up to some of the responsibilities and taking charge. So it really, at the end of it all, my favorite saying these days, ever since the COVID, the breakout, is everything rises and falls on leadership. Full stop. You can't even point a finger to the employees as leadership of a company. Point the finger to yourself. If something is not working out, do not blame the employees.
Indeed.
First, look at yourself.
As the boss.
Exactly. But many times, that blame culture always starts at the top. You're not doing this, and that person is right. Fire them. But it's always important, and this is what I'll say to all business owners everywhere. When you see something going wrong in your company, first look at yourself, look at your leadership team, at your management team. That is where the problem is.
All right, Patricia Karugaba, you can use variations from Nina Interiors on how best you've been able to inculcate that culture amongst your employees. Share some of those best, practices.
Okay, well, as Susan has said, and I really like that she emphasized it, is that it is the staff who will execute. A lot of the time you'll have these people come in and discuss strategy, and if it doesn't boil down to you, first as leadership and then as the staff, you get people continuing business as normal. They know how to do what they are supposed to do, but not in line with your new idea.
Indeed.
Yes. So the best way to get them going is first of all to make the executors understand that this is my role, this is my contribution on this new thing that we are doing. This new thing, I was doing it turning left, now I have to start doing it turning right because of ABC. And it takes me back again to the customer. We have to understand that it was because of the customer before. But during the break, I was thinking that we always say the customer is the reason we exist. And for some people, they divorce themselves from that. Now, for the staff, they have to understand, why did I come to work? I came to earn. I came to earn money. I have school fees to pay. I have rent to pay. But it can't be paid unless the customer is served. So it goes back to the same thing. Yeah.
Helen Buenger, let me ask, can a great and sustainable organizational culture influence self-driven employees?
I think if executed really well, it should. Unfortunately, one time I was sitting with a group of employees and they said, oh, management is where all the ideas go to die. And sometimes it is a sad thing that is where that is the disconnect between management and its people. I strongly believe that I don't have the total skills to run my own company. I need everybody to sit where they're supposed to sit so that it works like a well-oiled machine. Now, if I don't get up early, or if I have a particularly good trait that, I like using waking up early because I'm really not the best morning person, but I do try to wake up early. Now, if I get up early, get into the office and get things moving, and I find that most women in business are actually early risers, and I find that fascinating that they do that. But then they tolerate their staff coming in at specific hours. Neither do they teach them the benefits of that morning rush and getting your thinking done early so that you execute your day a lot better. Now, all those, I call them small good ingredients that go into making great stuff. Call them bedside manners maybe. But all those little things will add up into great employees. Then you get into the actual culture of the company. For example, if you're a company that's all about safety, you want your customer to walk into a safe environment, you have everything labeled. If there's something spilled on the floor, there's please walk with caution, or if the stairs or the lift is not working, there's always something. But that whole safety drive should be engraved into your staff, and you can have different practical ways. I find that sometimes formal learning is hard. I mean, when you look down to even your days in going to school, I mean, some things were more difficult. But if you get a more practical way of teaching your staff how to grow into the culture, like safety, customer service, efficiency, timekeeping, very many things in that sector. You find that the staff will grow slowly but surely into that, and then you won't have a statement where, oh, management is where ideas go to die.
I see. Susan, yeah, in your opinion, what is the best approach that management can adopt to help employees, get engaged in the strategic thinking and planning for the business?
I think one has to break down the silos,
Right.
because they're silos. Like, those are the bosses and we are the people. So one has to break down the silos. And I think when you look at your management structure, the management structure or the organizational structure actually many times informs the culture as well.
See.
Where you've got bosses behind closed doors, or you don't speak to these ones, or these ones use their own entrance, they have their own toilets, they have, there are those things that it's amazing how those things actually influence the culture in a workplace. And so are people free with ideas? Can they come to you with ideas?
Right.
It's not to say that every idea is good for the business, but at least have a point where people can bring their ideas, because they're the ones who interact with the customers, they're the ones who interact with the public,
Yeah.
Let them come with their ideas. Recently, as training a particular company, and for these people to close the sales, there's some offices where they wanted to see the bosses themselves, not the sales representatives, but the bosses are like, go close the sale, go close the sale. They want to see you. I'm not coming to close because I'm the boss. You go close the sale. You understand that kind of thing?
Yes.
So it hampers progress. So that kind of culture where bosses don't speak to customers, those kind of cultures don't allow employees to have the motivation to actually do their very best. So to have an all-inclusive culture, I think or rather an environment, I think is good. The other thing also is to lead by example. I always say that I'm one of those management people who always says that as managers, we've got to lead by example.
Right.
It's up to us to create a culture of accountability, a culture of, people don't grow into these things, a culture of performance, a culture of transparency, a culture where we talk about things, where we actually talk about things. Big decisions are made in the boardroom, but how do we break it down? And people actually know, guys, it's a bad season right now. We are not making money because of A, B, C, D, E. So certain things have got to change, not memos that are just passed down. So having honest conversations with your team can only happen in particular environments that can only be created again by leadership. So a culture of accountability, transparency, performance, and reward as well. Recently, again, talking to another company.
We seldom see rewards.
Exactly. Where again, people are like, man, we're putting in our hard work, but management is not coming to the party with the rewards that they promised us. You understand?
Indeed.
They tell us that these are the numbers, these are the numbers we must bring. We bring the numbers, then they start shuffling their feet on our commission. They start shuffling their feet. And we sat there and these guys all brought pieces of paper, you understand, on what their grievances were. And one of the key things was trust. Like, there was a big issue on trust between the staff and management. They're like, management doesn't keep their promises. So how are you going to motivate people like that to carry out your plans if they don't even trust you? So there are issues of trust that also need to be sorted out.
Do you have a submission on that, Patricia Karugaba?
Susan brings an interesting point which reminded me about staff and culture and getting them to adopt the new strategies. Is first of all, recognize those who are making an effort, those who are achieving. And the only way that you can do that is if you make targets or you set standards. In management, they call it KPIs and KPAs. So if those are in line with the new strategy, then you can reward the people who are doing well. When you reward the people who are doing well, you not only motivate them to do better, but you motivate those who are lagging behind to catch up and play along with the new thing. Yeah.
Now, Helen Buenger would like to know, at what point does the strategy development process evolve into planning? Because strategy could be on paper for years.
Very true. And unfortunately, most of the time it stays there for quite a number of time. But it's nice to put it into an executable plan. For example, if we were just talking about staff, if you look at a rewards program that you want to put in place, now this rewards program needs a time bound. You just can't say, oh, we are rewarding. You've got to start, there has to be a starting point, there has to be goals to be met and an end game. So if you actually put that into your plan at the start of the year and say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, our sales staff are going to make maybe 100 million this year. Let's think about what we're going to do to move them along. Now, half year, quarter year, and all the time, have kind of reminders in form of rewards that can help us look up to the goal. Yeah, everybody has a reminder within. Now, another thing is when you're dealing with what the original plan was for the company. For example, you started this year saying that we are probably going to expand into, maybe you have one store, we say we're going to move to the next store, or we're going to start packaging coffee this year. Now, if you don't have the steps to do that within the year, at what point in time did you actually action and say, we had an actual meeting with the person who's going to help us with packaging? We actually had a meeting with the person who's going to help us with preservation. We actually worked out a formula for adding maybe milk to it and creamer and something like that.
Right.
You actually I like to start out with the eye candy, like, please have because I'm very visual, please have the brand set out for me. Let me see the colors and everything. That way I've plastered something on my wall and I know this year we said that product is going to come out. It will help me visualize it, but at least we have landmarks within the year. Everything, like I said, everything you need time. It's only time that goes into good work. But make sure that you have steps towards that time. Otherwise, I find it impossible to say, we're going to do it tomorrow. I always think...
You need to be realistic.
Yes, you need to be realistic, but you also need to... There's a process in place for everything. Same thing with the finances. They don't flow like that for you to have a blank check to do anything that you want in the company. There must be a financial backing on this. There must be, your accounts must be aligned with your plan. So all that, you've got to have a think tank that gets this into place, and then have, for me, the most important thing is actually put it into seasons, have a time limit to it, because again, if you give yourselves too much time, you lax on the whole project. So give yourself a realistic expectation, put a few landmarks in mind, put up the red flags when they need to come up, but also have a key learning. Maybe you started out with this project and maybe you diverted. At what point in time are you going to get back to that?
All right, that's a great submission. Let me also bring in Patricia Karugaba. What advice would you give to a woman looking to strategically position themselves in this market?
Well, start with you. What do you have to offer? What does your business have to offer? What does your brand have to offer?
Right.
If you have an offering, then you can attract. Then, what is it that you're looking for? I mentioned it before that, are you looking for visibility? In which case you would partner with a partner who's going to give you more visibility. Are you looking for a wider base, customer base? For example, if you are into decoration, wedding decoration, maybe you can partner with a photographer, and meaning that each event that the photographer gets to know about, you tag along as his decorator. He says, I already have a decorator, or vice versa. You as the decorator say, I already have a photographer. That one will be bringing you more business. But you have to know from the beginning, what was it that I was looking for? Then also, help me.
All right, let me bring in Susan Cigura as you actually go through that thought process. Susan Cigura, we do understand 9 out of 10 businesses do not make it to their first birthday. So we are coming up with some recommendations on how best our SMEs can sustain their business past the first birthday, so that they could see maybe the 10th anniversary and so forth. What are the immediate recommendations that you could be having for such a group?
Have a plan.
Indeed.
It's important to have a plan.
And actualize it.
And actualize it. It's important to have a plan, to sit down and first do the thinking. And many times I think what we have is like the fear of missing out. So someone comes and says, this is where the money is right now.
And then
so
you rush.
You rush. I have, especially at the micro level, this is the money. This is where the money is. This is where the money is. So you keep rushing. And without the planning, without the thinking, without looking at the different challenges, but above all, looking at what are your own strengths. Is that something that you can actually do? Just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean that you can do it. So my first advice would be have a plan. Have a plan, get as much information about that business as possible, sit down, get advice, seek advice even before you invest that first shilling in the business. First invest in getting to know about the business, have the plan, set some timelines, and then see whether it's something that you actually want to do. Even at the micro level, you can still do some, these days they call it research. Make research. Make research.
She said it.
Make research. Whether it is a Rolex business, whether it is growing tomatoes, whatever. You can always get the information before you sink money in, and then 6 months later you are closed. So I would say make a plan, but do some research also.
Indeed. Susan and Cigura, she comes with a wealth of information. Helen Buenger, help us with some of your recommendations on how best these women in business can actually sustain their businesses.
For me, it's numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie, always.
Work the numbers. I don't know why everyone who gets money thinks, let me get into business.
Indeed.
What is wrong with having that money on hold for 1 month? Think about it. Rethink it. Look at it. Think of the fall. But work the numbers. If you're going to buy jeans, if you're going to buy shoes, what is the actual profit margin on those shoes? Work the numbers. Because at the end of the day, you're in it to make the numbers.
Indeed.
So numbers don't lie. If the business, if the numbers tell you that the business is not going to work, understand that it's not going to work. I mean, you're not going to magically make it work. For example, if it's a seasonal factor, like right now, everybody and their mama is making face masks and sanitizer. Yes? This is a seasonal business. So how much are you going to invest within that, knowing that it is a seasonal business? For example, maybe we're going to run this for about 2-3 years, until we forget, oh no, sensitizing.
Indeed.
Okay, but still, within that, think about it carefully. Do you honestly want to work the seasonal element of your business? Like this time you're doing sanitizer, then next month you're doing insenene, then the next month you're going to, is that what, are you going to be in it for that? But you know that when you do that, there are also high risk factors, yes? That what if the season, but for me, it's better to have sustainable plans and the numbers.
And of course, like you mentioned, numbers don't lie, and we have the COVID-19 pandemic upon our hands that has actually skyrocketed to 18,165 cases of COVID-19. Now, get this, I was talking to a lady acquaintance of mine, and I was asking her, what business can you do during this period? I wanted to give her some money to invest, and then she told me a bar business. And I was like, are you cognizant of the fact that businesses are under lockdown and they might not reopen in the next, couple of months? So information is really, really important in this case before you start up a business. I was really flabbergasted when she talked about a bar business. But
starting bars now.
Indeed.
In the suburbs.
But then, Patricia Karugaba, how is that thought process coming along when it comes to recommendations? Sorry. Indeed.
Forgive me for that brain freeze. But well, still again, with regard to your business, it's about building your brand. You have to have something to offer, and then you have to refine your product. You already have the customers. I said start with the customers in mind. Understand who they are, what they want, and then keep your promises. You promised you would do something. You promised people are expecting something from you. So keep that promise and be consistent. If you do your deliveries, if you say, she was talking about shifting from business to business, now it's sanitizer, then it's insenene. That could be your business model, by the way, because insenene is twice a year. So if it's insenene business, unless you're going to go into processing it and tinning it and packing it, please, someone, if you do, let me know, because I'm an insenene.
All right.
Yes, but be consistent, and then be flexible. Be flexible, adapt. If there's anything we've learned from 2020 is that you've got to adapt. You've got to adapt. We went 2 months 2 months without revenue, closed down, nothing was happening. For people who had their shops downtown, not all of them had their arms folded. There were some who were clever, who were doing business on phone, doing business on WhatsApp, saying, I can deliver, I can deliver, I can come to you. You want this, I can come to you. And what has come out, now cars can move, everybody is open, except the bars. Are the bars open?
No, they're still closed.
So
That's a long shot.
People can still, can now move. But because the new mentality of deliver came into place, it's now the new way of doing things. I need this. You think of the traffic jam. Do you deliver? Do you deliver? So you should be able to adapt. Now be flexible that you don't have to come to me. I can come to you. And then it's okay to make a mistake.
We learn from those.
And in business, we make mistakes. You get into a line thinking that it will work, and it doesn't work. It's fine. Don't beat yourself too hard, but learn from it.
Indeed.
It can be a painful lesson of many shillings in negative, sometimes in dollars, but learn from it and know what you're going to do next time and how you're going to do it.
And you can only learn the mistake by taking that risk.
Yes.
Well, of course, I think I should get some parting shots from you, Susan, in a minute, and also Helen Buenger before we go. Parting shots.
I think my parting shots would be, since we're talking about reboosting and, you know,
taking your business ahead.
taking the business ahead. I think one thing that I'll say at this time is that it's never too late to try something new.
Indeed.
And we're in a season where there are lots of new opportunities, but at the same time, just to take advice from whatever has been shared here, to take that advice and realize that any business that you start now can actually grow, and it really just depends on your mindset, how you see things, and exactly what you're going to put into it to make sure that it works.
Amazing. And Helen Buenger, crown it all?
For women in business, I think the one thing that is dear to my heart is remember that you are the engine and the brains of everything. Take care of yourself. I think our health is extremely important. Many a times, if you're walking downtown, you find this lady, she woke up very early, she's in there. Well, she hasn't even had a fruit, her water intake is low. Take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, you are the driving force of this business. So your health is extremely important. Get a dietitian in, take a walk. Yes, please.
Thank you very much.
Healthy women.
Patricia Karugaba, you had something you were itching to say within 30 seconds.
My parting shot for women in business, and I apologize for this straight away, is don't think like a woman in business. Think like a business person. Yes, you're a woman, but you're in business. When we think as a woman in business, you start from the angle that you're frail, that you are the weaker partner. So come out, go out there, do the networking, hang out with the guys. You get into trouble with your husband, but hang out with the guys, because that's where the deals are being cut, and that's where the deals are being made.
All right. Patricia Karugaba, the MD, Nina Interiors, Helen Buenger, and Susan in Cigura, you come with a wealth of information, and many thanks for having made the time to speak to the nation. Has been watching this episode of Rising Woman, taking your businesses ahead. Thank you very much for that undeterred love and loyalty. Strategic thinking and planning is really crucial, and we've been talking about some of the winning choices that you can make for your business. Please refocus,